and codes verified. Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Welcome to the live recording of episode 445 of Priority 1. We're here on another Tuesday evening to recap all the latest news from the Star Trek multiverse, and a big shout out to everybody who is currently watching us live on places like YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Periscope over on Twitter. Where else are we? Is that it? Did I make
Twitch,
them all?
Periscope, Twitter, YouTube. Did you say YouTube?
YouTube.
YouTubes.
So first things first, if you are watching us live right now, please hit that share button. Load it up on your social media platforms of your choice, and let everybody else know that right now, for the next hour and a half or so, we'll be recapping this week in Star Trek news. Remember that if you can't make a financial contribution to us via Patreon, sharing us on social media is the next best thing you can do to help show your support of Priority 1. So be sure to do that. Kat, Anthony, how are you guys? How was your week?
Pretty good. All one day of it that we had off work, sorta.
All right.
Yeah, it's good. It gets a little crazy when my kids are home from school. And we got snow on Sunday, which was kind of cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did I've been trying to avoid digging too deep in social media for Picard because I'm really afraid of any potential spoilers of people who like had gone to the premieres or whatnot, because there are mean people out there who would do that, and I've been wanting to avoid it. How about you guys? Have you seen anything about potential spoilers, stories, or anything?
Nope.
I mean, nothing more than what we've talked about, regarding the short trek. And I did watch the clip that they released, which was kind of cool, and it referenced the comics. It referenced the first Countdown comic. So
what did they release?
They released a short clip of Picard at the winery with his two Romulan, I guess, workers. But it's if you want to know more about them, pick up the Countdown comic, because they're in the Countdown comic for Picard.
All right, duly noted.
Interesting.
All right, well, why don't we go ahead and jump right in? Let's do a show, shall we?
I guess we could do that.
All right,
Yes, sure.
I'm going to hit the big red button for intro in 3, 2, 1. This is Elijah, intro, sync 1.
This is Cat, intro, sync 2.
This is Anthony, intro, sync 3.
Okay, intro, and Anthony, why don't you take it in 3, 2.
This week on Priority 1, well, it's much like last week, with even more marketing hype behind Star Trek Picard. Star Trek Online's 10th anniversary is right around the corner, and Star Trek Online's 10th anniversary is right around the corner, and we tell you what you can look forward to. And finally, we open up hailing frequencies and receive all of your incoming messages.
Hello, Captains. You're listening to episode 445 of Priority 1, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. Your weekly report of all the major news happening in the Star Trek multiverse. This episode was recorded in part live. Not in part. I gotta change this intro. This episode was recorded live on Tuesday, January 21st, 2020, and available for download or streaming on Friday, January 24th at PriorityOnePodcast.com. I'm Elijah.
And I'm Kat.
And I'm Anthony. And before we jump into the news, we want to invite you to join in on our weekly conversations. Whether via social media platforms like Facebook.com/Priority One Podcast, on Twitter or Instagram at Priority One Pod, or even by email via incoming at PriorityOnePodcast.com.
Oh, that's me. Maintaining these features would not be possible without the support of our patrons, listeners like you who support the ongoing production of this show by offering a financial contribution each month. Visit us at patreon.com/Priority One Pod and check out how you can become an admiral in the Priority One. That didn't work. Let me try that again. Visit us at patreon.com/Priority One Pod and check out how you can become an admiral in the Priority One podcast listener fleet.
Now, Captains, I know we're all still recovering from the holidays, and considering a financial contribution towards a podcast, I know is kind of a big ask. But the next best thing that you can do for us is to share this show with your friends. That goes a really long way in making sure that Priority One Podcast is your friends' sources. That really does go a long way in making sure that Priority One reaches as many people as possible in the Star Trek community. So remember, when you see us post this episode on Fridays, be sure to hit not. So remember, when you see us post this episode on Fridays, be sure to not only hit that like button, but also hit that share and retweet button. It's your support that keeps us going.
Now let's check out all the latest news from the Star Trek multiverse.
We're about here to stop. Big shout out to AJ, man. I'm so sorry to hear about your house and car, man. Australia is not having it easy this year.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry to hear that. That sucks.
Got hit with a really bad hailstorm that destroyed both his cars and his house.
Oh, my God.
Man.
That's horrible.
I'm going to create the folder.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Oh, this is great radio.
I'm sorry, we're all... So Picard ends up... Man, why do they have to do this like midnight Pacific Standard Time release? That is so... Like, first of all, the world revolves around the East Coast, okay? Let's just get that out of the way. All right.
I feel like we have this conversation once every 6 months about how Eastern time is the standard time.
Eastern time is in fact the standard time. And it's so for those of you that are unaware or trying to find out, at least in the United States, Star Trek Picard will air at 12:01 Thursday morning. So if you stay up late, for those of you on the West Coast, you can start watching it at midnight, Wednesday night, right? So it's like a midnight release of a film. However, on the East Coast, it's 3 a.m., 3:01 a.m. Now, 12 o'clock doesn't bother me, but I'm not on the West Coast. 3 a.m. is a little much. However, I will be setting an alarm and I will be watching.
Are you really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, I'll just see. I get up at.
Do it. I might do it. I'm on vacation.
Now, first of all, well, not only that, Anthony, but you can watch it at home, right? Like that's the thing is that Allie and I want to watch it together, so we've got to watch it together. So we're gonna set our alarms. Are
you gonna? Can you book the viewing room in your complex for 3 a.m.?
Not at 3 in the morning. No. But I will be watching it there over the weekend for sure.
See, I because the Mandalorian I think did the same thing for Disney Plus, and I would get up the morning of, and I usually get up at 5:30 anyway, so it's like I would just hop on and watch it first thing in the morning. So I'll be watching it 3 hours after you do, and I'll have had a good night's sleep.
Well, good for you.
I don't know if I could wake up that early, but I could get up early and watch it.
And then Jake's gonna come over. Jake's gonna come over Thursday night and watch it with me again.
No, all right. Well, you guys enjoy it. But for everyone else all around the world that may not be certain about the times, according to Trek Movie, so it's 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursday, so Wednesday night if you don't go to bed, 3 a.m. Eastern if you don't go to bed or set an alarm. And then for those of you in Canada, it's on CTV Sci-Fi Channel Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay, well, that's Thursday. So Thursday, you're definitely waiting if you're in Canada. So you're definitely waiting until Thursday at 9. It's also streaming on Crave. The time has not yet been announced. And then for the rest of the world, it's on Amazon Prime Video Fridays with no time yet to be announced. Now, my main concern is the bandwidth load on their servers. It's a call like that. So I'm afraid of waking up at 3 in the morning not to be able to watch it. That's my only concern. Anthony,
that's a valid concern. I think that's a valid concern, but maybe on the East Coast it won't be so bad if it's 3 in the morning.
Hopefully it's not pinging one centralized server, and the servers are in several different places where we can all enjoy it at a different time. But 3 a.m. That's when I'm doing it. I'm gonna wake up.
Man, I'm so excited. Yeah, I was gonna take vacation next week anyway, and I'm like,
Wait, but it's tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. That's why my vacation starts Thursday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm really excited.
Well, Anthony ran away because I don't know, something happened. He just walked up and left.
Oh, I think one of his kids needed him.
How was the fleet live stream on Saturday, Cap?
It was good. It was just me and Z though.
Anything happen?
We streamed from the bridge of my Galaxy. So it was awesome. We went to 10 Forward, hung out, had some party balls. That was nice. Went to the bar. No, it was good.
Nice.
Did you guys do anything fun over the weekend?
No, nothing particular. Just kind of get ready watching. We did watch Best of Both Worlds. I'm sorry, All Good Things.
Nice.
We watched that last night, and
I just watched that today.
Yeah, so that's fresh.
Oh, you guys are done with your re-watching?
No, so we're rewatching in Spanish, right? Or that's the attempt. So we started already and fell asleep at like the three-fourths of the way into Encounter at Farpoint.
Oh, okay.
But you know what's interesting about the Spanish dubbed version of Star Trek on the Blu-rays is that sometimes the scenes haven't been dubbed, so it'll switch back to just them speaking normally. But I'll tell you what, the Spaniard who's doing the voice of Picard, man, he's a sexy voice. Está hablando en español con el España, los Z.
How do you say make it so in Spanish?
I don't think he said it yet.
Oh, man.
Échalo.
All right, well, get back to us on that.
I timed my rewatch perfect because I watched All Good Things today and Generations today. So now tomorrow night I'm going to watch Or tomorrow I'm going to watch First Contact, Insurrection, and Nemesis.
Nice.
All right, let's do some Trek It Out, shall we?
Okay.
Not trio, Tio. All right, I'm going to hit the big red button in 3, 2, 1. This is Elijah. Trek It Out, Sync 1.
This is Kat. Trek It Out. Sync 2.
This is Anthony. Trek It Out, Sync 3.
Trek It Out in 3, 2. I'm not ready. After what seemed like a lifetime of waiting and marketing teases, or perhaps we were just mentally trapped in a Catanian probe. Catanian? Is it Catanian?
Catanian.
Catanian. Okay. After what seemed like a lifetime of waiting and marketing teases, or maybe we're just mentally trapped in a Catanian probe full of Picard marketing for 20 minutes. I don't know. Who's to say? Either way, it's finally time. Star Trek Picard premieres on CBS All Access this week. In just over 48 hours from the time of this recording. Now, whether you've already seen the series pilot or not, we've got a couple of fun stories from Picard's final marketing push. For starters, CBS arranged a 2-day takeover of London's Piccadilly Circus underground station. For starters, CBS arranged a 2-day takeover of London's Piccadilly Circus underground station. Star Trek branding adorned the tiled roundels in the station's ticket hall, declaring it to be Piccadilly Circus. Signs and train line maps throughout the station carried the theme as well. If you closed your eyes, you could perhaps imagine yourself if you closed your eyes, you could perhaps imagine yourself in a Federation transportation hub as the PA announced, "Please take care when using stairs, escalators, or transporters." Next stop, Earth Space Dock.
Do you have to mind the gap before you go through a transporter?
Maybe.
Mind the gap.
Yeah, this was pretty cool. They just had the London premiere there for Picard as well, and it was fun to see Jerry Ryan taking some selfies in the Piccadilly Circus.
Oh, I saw that one where the one with her on it. I love the expression on her face. It was great.
Yeah, she's been certainly enjoying her time back at Star Trek, and we're all very excited to what she does.
Yes. It's my turn. Our next Picard marketing tidbit comes courtesy of a variety. Oh, that I can't say. Awesome. Our next Picard marketing tidbit comes courtesy of a Variety interview with the cast and crew at the show's premiere event in Hollywood. When asked which Trek character each of them would most like to share drinks with, the answers were gracious, touching, and funny in turn. Sir Patrick Stewart joked, quote, "Your question suggests that hasn't happened yet," end quote, before adding, quote, "There are a lot of new characters with me now, and they are, without exception, delightful people. So a glass or two of something pleasant with any of them would be a treat," end quote. Roddenberry touchingly replied, quote, "My dad. I know that's not what you were asking, but that's who I'd most like to hang out with," end quote. Aw. While several other cast and crew all agreed that Picard himself was their main While several other cast and crew all agreed that Picard himself was their man of choice, new star, is it Issa? Issa Briones?
Isa Brianna.
Isa?
Isa.
Okay. While several other cast and crew all agreed that Picard himself was their man of choice, new star Isa Briones offered an amusing reply, quote, "I shouldn't answer that because I'm not 21 for a few days. Hypothetically, Guinan, because she would get me drunk in the right way," end quote.
That is true. I would go drinking with Guinan for sure.
Heck yes.
Fun fact, Guinan is my wife's least favorite character.
What? How's that possible?
Because whenever Guinan's on screen, like one of my favorite episodes is Yesterday's Enterprise. And my wife hates that episode because Guinan just says, I got a feeling something's wrong, but I don't know what it is. So.
Well, how is that any worse than To Battle the Q?
I know. What's that about? I was thinking about that the other day. What is she doing?
Who knows?
What is that? And Q calls her a creature. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, I think he thinks all of us are creatures.
That's okay.
And our last Picard marketing bit comes courtesy of Sir Patrick's appearance on the BBC talk show The Graham Norton Show. The host asked Stewart if, given TNG's heavy syndication, he ever found himself unintentionally drawn into watching the show. While Sir Patrick declared that he doesn't seek out the show, he shared a funny story about one night staying in a hotel. While channel surfing, Stewart came across an episode of The Next Generation. After watching a few minutes, he found himself hooked. It was at this point that his room service order was brought into the room, and the hotel staff person looked at him, looked at the television, and went away. Stewart told Norton, quote, I thought, he's going to go away and tell the entire kitchen, it's the saddest thing I've ever seen. This guy's upstairs alone, having room service, watching himself on TV, end quote. To see the original video of the clip, check out a link in our show notes. First off,
that's not the first time that Sir Patrick Stewart has been on Graham Norton Show. He told a very intimate but funny story several months ago. I think it was or actually several years ago now. It was on tour for Logan, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was on with Hugh Jackman and tells this very colorful story about a conversation he had with his wife.
Yeah, I think the Graham Norton Show is actually my favorite talk show. It's a real talk show too, because he has guests on. They all of the famous celebrity guests sit on one couch. They all have drinks, and they all just talk about stuff. And he always gets some great stories out. And any appearance from any Star Trek alum always ends in a great moment. And also, even when he doesn't have Star Trek alum, there was one episode where Tom Hanks and Simon Pegg have a Star Trek trivia contest.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. I love this episode with Dame Judi Dench, and she's like, oh, I would never go to a club. And Graham Norton's like, you lie. We went to a club in the 70s. And she was like, what? No way. That was classic. He's like, oh, you are such a liar. Good stuff.
Oh my goodness. Well, moving back to Star Trek television, there's still no official word from CBS on the release schedule for the rest of its forthcoming Star Trek shows. However, a couple of tweets were dropped this past week that give us hints that we may not have long to wait. First, back on January 14th, TrekCore.com's Twitter account posted a very brief chat with executive producer Heather Caden. Asked if Discovery's new season would be coming on the heels of Picard, Caden had a surprising answer. She said, quote, it's not up to me. CBS All Access schedules it. I'll tell you that come May, a lot of things will be ready. Lower Decks will be ready. Discovery Season 3 will be ready. End quote. Excuse me. She added her expectation that the shows would be scheduled to ensure a steady flow of content. She also declared, quote, I can't wait for people to see Lower Decks, end quote. Just a few days later, on the 17th, another tantalizing tweet appeared. Michelle Paradise, Discovery Season 3's writer, tweeted a photo of Michelle Paradise, Discovery Season 3's writer, tweeted a photo of one line of script boldly declaring, quote, end of Season 3, end quote. So with the writing on the show complete, at least, and the Star Trek Picard So with the writing of Season 3, So with the writing of Discovery Season 3 show complete, at the very least, and the Picard executive producer expecting the shows to be ready by May, maybe we won't be waiting long after Picard's finale for the next installment of Star Trek.
This is crazy. Like, that's amazing that both shows are going to be ready in May. We're obviously not going to get both, but to know that we could see one of them as early as May and then the other one later in this year, this 2020 is turning out to be a pinnacle in the Star Trek mythos of TV shows. I don't even know what I'm saying. Just the excitement is real, and I need it all right now.
Well, Captains, don't forget that if you haven't already, be sure to use our affiliate links to subscribe to CBS All Access. Just head on over to Priority One Podcast /CBS for links to our affiliate links.
Are we at community questions now?
Yes, please.
Which leads us to our first community
Now
question.
that leads us.
Now that leads us to our first community question. Would you rather see Discovery Season 3 released first or Lower Decks?
Don't forget to answer our community questions by replying to our social media. Don't forget to answer our community questions by replying to our episode post on PriorityOnePodcast.com or by replying to our social media community question posts. Anthony, read them.
25 years ago, Captain Janeway and the crew of the USS Voyager began their adventures in the Delta Quadrant. In honor of this special day, many of Voyager's cast members took to Twitter to celebrate. The captain herself posted a short video captioned, quote, "Thought I'd dust off my uniform, Pip's badge and boots in celebration of the 25th anniversary," end quote. In the video, to the stirring tune of Voyager's theme music, Kate Mulgrew has arranged her Starfleet uniform and a Voyager script atop a Voyager folding director's chair. Robert Picardo, who played the Doctor, shared a photo of his character in costume as the emergency command hologram with the caption, quote, "The ECH has issued an order. You'd better be celebrating 25 years of Voyager. Please don't tell Kate Mulgrew I'm sitting in her chair again," end quote. 7 of 9's Jerry Ryan, now working on Star Trek Picard, posted a full cast photo captioned, quote, "Happy 25th birthday, Star Trek Voyager, to the journey," end quote. And Eternal Ensign Harry Kim, Garrett Wang, posted 2 cast photos with a note saying, quote, "So it was exactly 25 years ago this evening that Voyager first aired on UPN. Happy 25th anniversary to the cast, crew, and fans of Star Trek Voyager. May we all live long and prosper," end quote.
Well, Captains, that's all the news we have to Trek out this week. Now let's find out what happened in the world of Star Trek gaming.
Okay, everybody hit stop. So much hype. So much hype.
Oh my god, I'm like, I've had to watch Star Trek: The Next Generation in order to keep myself sane in these.
Well, I've been watching it too. I today watched Tapestry. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched Unification last night.
Oh, nice.
So here's a funny little tidbit. I was watching the episode
Trek
Sarek.
Nugget.
Sorry. So here's an interesting little thing. In the episode...
Trek Nugget.
I didn't realize I had to say it again after you had already said it, but here goes. So everybody, here's an interesting hashtag Trek Nugget, ! / whatever.
Calm.
In the episode Sarek, when Riker and Picard are walking to the transporter room to meet Ambassador Sarek, Riker asks Picard if he's ever met him, and Picard answers, "I only met him once at his son's wedding."
Wait, what? Come again?
What?
So Riker asks Picard if he's ever met Sarek, Ambassador Sarek. And Picard answers, "I only met him once at his son's wedding."
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Unification?
No. In the episode Sarek, where he meets where Ambassador Sarek comes on board the Enterprise. So my first question is, which son of Sarek got married?
Right.
And number 2, who let Sybok out of prison?
No, he's not in prison. He died.
Oh, that's right. So it must have been Spock's wedding.
It had to have been Spock's, yeah.
So who did Spock marry?
Who knows? I'm gonna have to rewatch that one.
I rewound. What year is this?
Rewound.
Is this 1994? Like
I
I rewound the tape? No, I backed it up. I searched backwards.
We get it. We get what you were doing. We understand.
I reversed the
point.
reel.
I think you can say rewind.
I wound the tape backwards 3 times to make sure that I was hearing that correctly.
I don't know, man. Spock's got a sister, a half brother. Soon it's gonna be Grandpa Spock showing up.
I don't know.
You told me you were gonna take me to the DMV.
Maybe we'll see. It's Savick?
Baco?
Oh, maybe it is Savick. Jamal is saying that in a novel it was Savick. Well, no, that was actually written in. So there was a deleted scene, or in the original story for Star Trek IV, it was written that Savick was pregnant with Spock's child after they had Ponfar on the Genesis planet. Yup.
Flabba, Savick. I don't know what he says there. All right, ready? You know what I'm talking about, though. You know exactly the scene that I'm talking about, though.
Yep.
You know exactly the scene.
I don't know what scene. Is this Star Trek 2?
No.
3, right?
3, yeah, 3.
Oh.
That's funny. You know exactly what scene I was talking about. You saw it in your head.
I love that movie, though. It's so good.
All right, I'm gonna hit the big red button for Stowe News in 3, 2, 1. This is Elijah. Stowe News, sync wern.
This is Kat, Stowe News, Sync 2.
This is Anthony, Star Trek Online News, Sync 3.
Stowe News in 3, 2. To many of us, Star Trek Online is the ultimate Trekkie experience. Being able to graduate from Starfleet Academy, rise through the ranks at Starfleet, and captain our very own starship as we warp throughout the 50-plus years of the Star Trek universe. This year alone, we will see Voyager celebrate its 25th anniversary. We'll see Captain Jean-Luc Picard take to the stars again. And we will again have more than one Star Trek show to look forward to. And the game that has glued all of our favorite stories together will turn 10 years old. For PC players, beginning this Tuesday, January 28th, Star Trek Online beams down the Party Patrol, hands out the Party Poppers, and releases the Omega Particles. Take responsibly. There will be 2 new crafting options for the Omega Particles this year. You will now be able to craft Mark or?
Rarity.
Mark or rarity variations.
Oh, I see. I thought it was like Mark 4 or Mark 9.
There will
be 2 new crafting. Yeah. There will be 2 new crafting options for the Omega Particles. There will be 2 new crafting options for the Omega Particles this year. You will now be able to craft Mark or rarity variations of the Omega upgrades. The Party Popper this year will feature the greatest hits of past Party Poppers.
Is that what's written?
No.
Okay, just checking.
The party.
I tried.
First of all, if you're gonna give me crap about it, you should go back a few sentences as I fixed it on the fly. Okay. The Party Popper this year will feature the greatest hits of past poppers. The anniversary pack is adding several new emotes, including a disco dance, tea Earl Grey, evil plans, Organian greetings, and ta-da! Name that show. And of course, you'll be able to earn yourself a shiny, new Tier 6 ship, the Kittimer Alliance Battlecruiser.
An amalgamation of design aesthetics from both the Klingon Defense Force and Starfleet, this formidable ship comes with the aligned anti-proton shielding universal console, which, when activated, gives a temporary boost to energy weapon haste, shield regeneration, and shield capacity that increases the more damage your shields take. Reactivating the ability afterwards will deal anti-proton damage to each nearby enemy. Reaching level 5 in the Alliance Battlecruiser will unlock the Automated Shield Alignment Starship trait. Slotting this trait will give a bonus to damage based on what percentage of your shields is missing. Defeating an enemy will restore a substantial portion of your shields. And for a full list of details and to see a video from Zeph Films showcasing the Kittimer Alliance Battlecruiser, check out the show notes.
I've got to admit, this is for me personally, my opinion, it's a sexy looking ship. When you're marrying aesthetic styles like Klingon ships and Federation ships, I'm sure it could have gone really poorly. You know, just some of the worst kit bashing you've ever seen. But Thomas Moroni really knocked it out of the park with this design. I think it's a ship that I immediately thought to myself, wow, I bet it would look good 3D printed. I bet it would be a great addition to a 3D print ship. Now, in terms of the specs, yeah, it looks handsome. And for a second, I was like, maybe I'll replace my Fleet Avenger battlecruiser. And I might have done it if they would announce a Tier 6 Fleet variant for this. Because the turn rate is a little slow, the inertia is a little low, so it's definitely slower than the Avenger. Not by much, but enough.
Kat, do you have anything to add?
I'm very excited about the emotes. Yay. I'm excited about the ship too, but I don't really like big ships. I mean, I'm still going to get it because the console and the trader still look pretty awesome, but I don't like slow ships. I have a hard time. I like fast ships.
So on paper, like without seeing the ship, and you wrote down what was going to happen with this ship, I would have said you were crazy and don't do it. That abomination shouldn't exist. But luckily, I saw this thing before I realized what it was. And oh my gosh, this thing is gorgeous. I love it. I love everything about it. Every angle, every curve, every weapons port, every deflector, whatever. It looks really nice, and I love big, slow moving ships. I mean, you know me. I've got the Universe class, the Enterprise J. I mean, I love driving starships that turn like a planet. I don't have a problem with that. So yeah, I cannot wait to get my hands on this ship. I can't wait to fly it. I can't wait to see it flying around in sector space. I can't wait to see what other people do with it. What vanity shields people are putting on it. I can't wait to see it all over the game because everybody's going to be flying this thing.
And again, a massive congratulations to Thomas Moroni, who has taken to social media and he seems very proud of the work he's done. And this is one of those ship designs that, had been received the wrong way in any way, shape, or form. Could have been devastating to an artist like that, But this is a beautiful design, an excellent marriage of all the influences of Star Trek between the alien species. So much so that it's turning heads all over the place. It even got picked up by IO9 earlier this week. And so a big kudos. He deserves it. Thomas Moroni and the rest of the ship UI and UI team just deserve the accolades they get for these ship designs because it's not easy. I can't begin to imagine the Herculean task it is to create a ship like this in a universe that's been established for over 50 years.
It looks fantastic. They really do a good job. And you can tell they put a lot of work into it.
You're next.
Okay. making sure because I forgot to scroll down. Okay. The task force operation To Hell with Honor was recently announced and featured on a recent... Wait a minute.
What?
There's a lot of recents in there.
There's 2, and apparently there's 1 too many.
Yeah, I'm just going to say last week.
Sure.
The task force operation To Hell with Honor was announced last week and featured on a recent 10 Forward weekly live stream. The TFO has captains taking the fight to Ja'ula in space versus ground forces. In A. Whoops. The TFO has captains taking the fight to Ja'ula in a space versus ground forces battle on a barren moon. As John Hegner noted during the live stream, there are a couple different strategies players can take when approaching the TFO. Stage 1 pits captains against ground turrets while they make their way to Ja'ula's headquarters. During Stage 2, captains will battle against both Ja'ula's forces and Alachi groundwalkers. Any turrets not destroyed during Stage 1 will help you fight the Alachi. There is a Stage 3, but not wanting to spoil anything, we'll let listeners discover that for the... Let me try that again. There is a Stage 3, but not wanting to spoil anything, we'll let listeners discover that for themselves. Check out the show notes for a link to the latest fiction blog leading up to the operation and 10... Check out the show notes for a link to the latest fiction blog leading up to the operation and the TED Forward weekly. Damn it. Check out the show notes for a link to... All right, good. This is awesome.
Wine will fix everything.
Check out the show notes for a link to the latest fiction blog leading up to the operation and the 10 Forward videos spotlighting the mission.
To whomever is editing Stone News, please edit this to replace my spiel about Thomas Maroney. You'll see how it fits. Again, a big shout out to the ship team that designed this Kittimal. And again, a big shout out to the team that put together this shit.
All I could think of was cat food. Kittimals. Kittimals and bits. Kittimals and bits.
And again, a big shout out to the ship team that worked hard on this build. This is one of those designs that a community could have torn to shreds, but quite the opposite. It's been getting such amazing reviews. It even got picked up on IO9 earlier this week. So again, congratulations to Hector Ortiz, Tobias Richter, and Thomas Maroney, and the entire ship and UI team that works tirelessly behind these ships. I can't imagine the Herculean task to marry established aesthetics for over 50 years of content, right? And then marrying that together to a ship like this. So big shout out to the entire team. Thanks, Shane.
Actually, never mind.
Sure.
The chat had been pointing that out for the last 5 minutes, but
oh, thanks, chat. I saw it on Discord from Shane. Sorry, guys.
Do you want to just go into the next TFO thing, and then we'll talk about all the TFOs afterwards?
Yes. Oh, it's me. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, back to regular edit. The 10th anniversary update will also bring us 2 previous task force operations into regular rotation. Battle at the Binary Stars and the Mycelial Realm return to join the permanent list of regularly available TFOs. In Battle of the Binary Stars, you'll take on the role.
No, you're right. It's Battle at the Binary Stars. Sorry.
In Battle at the Binary Stars, you'll take on the role of a Discovery-era starship involved with the famous battle we first saw on the premiere of Star Trek Discovery. Not only is this a beautiful map and an exciting battle, but you'll also get to see cutscenes recreated in-game as they played out in Discovery. Then enter the Mycelial Realm in a ground TFO where you'll team up with tardigrades to fight Alachi and try to hinder Ja'ula's efforts. If you happen to have a VR headset, set yourself up to play Star Trek Online in VR because the mycelial realm is stunning. In virtual reality.
Yeah, it's really cool that these two TFOs are coming back. And also, this To Hell with Honor TFO looks really cool. It reminds me a little bit of the TFO, the shuttle TFO that we did that I had never done with the walkers.
Oh, the Awachi one? Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of that, but this one's way cooler. And like the way that it progresses, getting to the third stage is pretty cool. And the fact that you can kind of hug the ground of the moon with your ship is also pretty cool. And it'd be fun to see what strategies we can come up with for this one.
Definitely.
Well, that brings us to our next community question this week. What are you most looking forward to for Star Trek Online's 10th anniversary? Go on.
Console captains can continue their campaign progress towards a free Tier 6 ship coupon. Dang it, almost. Console captains can continue their campaign progress towards a free Tier 6 ship coupon by playing in the Voth Breach event. Players have the choice of either playing Into the Breach featured Task Force operation or in any of the new reimagined space patrols that were previously released on PC. Completing the daily progress with the TFO or 2 of the patrols 14 times will also earn you the Voth Power Subcore console, along with the usual featured TFO rewards. This event runs now until January 27th.
And on this week's episode of Clear Skies, the Star Trek Adventures RPG from the creative minds behind Shield of Tomorrow, the crew of the USS Ross finally set out on their adventure and gave us our first look at the starship. The title sequence, put together by none other than Zeph Films, showcases the Galaxy variant, which will be available as an in-game variant for the exploration cruisers. The show Clear Skies... Excuse me. The show Clear Skies can be seen Monday nights on the Q Times Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/QUEUE Times.
All right. Did you guys watch that?
I watched a little bit of it. I watched their show Shield of Tomorrow quite a bit when it was on. And have either of you seen this variant ship? Because it looks pretty cool. It's kind of like a hybrid between the Enterprise E and the Enterprise D. And this one apparently was a project that Thomas Maroney was working on for a while, and they just didn't know when to release it. But they decided to use it as the variant for this RPG live stream show.
I think it's cool too that they're allowing players to use this too. Like it's a variant that we'll all be able to get our hands on. It does kind of look armored like that little snippet of screenshot that we saw in the recent Picard trailer of the Galaxy. Was it me or did the Galaxy look a little armored on the neck?
I didn't notice.
I didn't think it looked armored.
All right. We'll see. We'll wait and see.
But I wasn't staring at its neck either. That'd be impolite.
I wasn't staring at its nacelles. I'm sorry. I'm a gentleman.
My bridge is up here, man.
My eyes. Yeah. Nice bussard collectors.
Hey now.
Hey, that was from the chat. That was David in the chat.
Kat, I struck that out because it gets a little long when we start listing.
I'm just gonna point them back to the website.
Okay.
Ample. That's right. Scotty says ample nacelles.
Ample nacelles.
Yeah. I'd love to get my hands on her ample nacelles, if you pardon the engineering parlance.
Oh man. All right. Is it time for Armada news then?
It is.
All right. Well, if you weren't aware.
Wait. We got to sweep that in better. Well, now let's move into some Armada news.
This week in Armada news, if you didn't know already, we have an ongoing event that happens every Tuesday called TFO Tuesday, where we team up with other Armada members to earn marks and dilithium. So if you're interested in doing any of that, come join us. We also have, what are we on? Our third week of Tribbles and Bits. I'm just posting random questions on the website so we can get some feedback from you guys. And so far, the responses are hilarious. If so, just check it out. It's on the website at priority1armada.com under Tribbles and Bits. And then finally, last week we handed out some of our outstanding service medals to some of our fantastic members. They have gone above and beyond in their contributions to the Armada, and we really appreciate all the work that they do to help us, keep our community growing. So thank you so much. And the winners are all posted on the website at priority1armada.com.
And now for this week's top tip.
In an effort to lend a hand to new players, or even surprise the most veteran captains in Star Trek Online, here's our top tip. With the Voth Breach event arriving on console as the featured TFO, we wanted to give you a couple of tips for completing it hastily. The first stage of the TFO is pretty straightforward, literally. You and your team fly at full impulse down... You and your teammates fly at full impulse down the outside spine of the ship, firing at the little points... Oh, God. Who writes this crap? It's terrible.
The tingle.
Oh, boy. Things just got weird.
Well, while he's fixing that, captains, don't forget that coming up at 10 o'clock, Mission Log will go live with their new host of Mission Log. So if you've been curious to meet him, be sure to visit facebook.com/Mission Log Pod.
All right. You and your teammates fly at full impulse down the outside spine of the ship, firing all around, very much like the Death Star trench run in Star Wars. Occasionally, you'll slow down to take out some turrets, and then in the featured version, you'll head straight down into the belly of the ship to take on the sub-power cores. Here's where the first tip comes in. Only one of the 3 chambers will have the correct sub-core. The other 2 will have a question mark in the name. Don't attack these ones. Heal yourself up and go after another chamber. Remember that a chamber will not have the correct sub-power core twice in a row. After your team explodes the core, head into the next chamber and start taking down the primary power core. This one has a rotating shield. So you can either fly around the
Around.
I right-clicked and it brought up a window that blocked the text. So I was like, So you can either fly around the core, keeping your ship broadsiding the exposed space between the shielding, or sit tight and buff up your ship when the shield blocks your firing arcs. It's up to you. But make sure to get your pacing down, or you'll be wasting your buffed... But make sure to get your pacing down, or you'll be wasting your buffed attacks on an immune shield.
In other gaming news,
Star Trek Timelines isn't exempt from the Picard hype. Starting on the same day as the Picard premiere, Timelines starts a new campaign that offers Irumodic Syndrome Picard and EV Suit 7 of 9 as rewards. Starting the same day is Timeline's newest event titled Right on Q. This event features Bell Q from the Q Civil War episode, Augmented Riker, and Commander Shelby. Star Trek Timelines is available in the Google Play Store, the iOS App Store, the Microsoft Store, and on Steam.
Kat, why don't you do the last one?
that's it for this week in gaming news. Now let's open hailing frequencies and hear your incoming messages.
Everybody hit stop.
Stop.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. They're not paying for this.
I'm low on tequila. What should I do?
Actually, I'm out of my drink too.
Tragedy.
We could all take turns to rush and get a new drink.
All right. Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Switch to rum. Ugh. No,
Ooh,
Panda, no.
Mixing. That's crazy.
Ugh. No, I love my tequila. I drink Espolón.
I like Herradura if I'm gonna go drinking tequila.
I like Cabo Wabo too, but it's basically paying for Sammy Hagar's name.
I'm like, isn't that Sammy Hagar tequila?
It is.
No,
It is.
I'm not doing it.
I do want to try the one of the local liquor stores near me has a new tequila from George Clooney and his friend. So I think I'll try that one as well too.
He probably knows a good tequila.
Yes, Zeph. Drinking is mandatory during the show.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Yeah, it's where our personalities come from, is a bottle. Pretty much. Jay Galloway, that would imply that we get paid for this, and that is not the case. So we are not drinking on the job. We are drinking because this isn't a job.
Wayne Gretzky makes wine?
Really? Wayne Gretzky makes wine? Yeah, Jake, are you bringing the beer on Thursday for the Picard premiere? Yes, Jamal. Jamal, I'll be honest with you. If there was tequila and blood wine in front of me, I would definitely drink them. If it's not called Wine Gretzky, it's a massively wasted opportunity.
Oh my God, Panda. True story.
By the way, Panda and Zeph, if you guys are not busy after the show, it'd be great if you guys could both join us for after hours, because Elijah's going to bow out, and I think the four of us could have some fun conversations. So.
Oh, yes, Panda, come on. Wayne Gretzky.
And Zeph, man, you've been so busy. Dude, like the Alliance Battlecruiser video looked amazing, and the title sequence for Clear Skies. Even just talking a little bit about that would be awesome if you have the strength or the fortitude.
Is that David Holquin? I have not tried Dan Aykroyd's Crystal Head vodka, though I have seen it. Vodka is not my friend, so... Yeah,
vodka's not mine either.
But it is very expensive, and I hear that it's good. I don't know about the strain through diamonds. Is that necessary? But whatever. It's probably,
It's filtered through diamonds?
Ancient alien astronomers agree that it's delicious.
Zeph, it'll be right after we're done with this. So before, I'd say in less than an hour, we'll be
before 9:30, right?
No, we'll be finishing up by 9:30. But we
to start
after hours. After hours will be between 9:30 and 10.
No pressure. I mean, you have been pretty busy, but it'd be kind of cool.
Unfortunately, we're not having a Picard party. I think there's one. It was weird. I thought there was going to be one in New York City, and then I guess it got canceled. But I'm still seeing that there's one from another group, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on. But
go ahead. I forgot my drink.
But I do know that we are not attending a specific party now.
Who's next?
I'll go.
Anthony.
I want to go to a party.
Okay, let's have a party.
All right. You driving up?
No.
Well then.
Y'all should come here.
Ha! I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh in such dismissal, but I have a lot of have a lot of memories from Charlotte, and I don't know that I want to go down there.
Wow, my house is lovely.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, and I found this little bar, and you walk in, and there's a Federation flag, and there's a Klingon flag. It's
Get
awesome.
out of here, really?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Did you tell them that you do a Star Trek podcast?
No.
Do they even know what it is? Is it like a Applebee's that has?
No, there's like 1,000 million brew pubs in this town, so
Right.
it's like one of these little hole in the wall little, booze joint. It's nice,
Got it.
but they do have trivia, which is pretty fun.
How
So
about you
any-
guys? How about you guys in the chat? How are you guys watching? Did they talk about that? Is that what you guys were talking about? People in the chat
No, we
were
were talking
talking
about
about-
booze
Oh.
generally.
So for those of you in the chat, how are you guys going to watch Picard when it releases? Are you doing a party, just on your own, with friends,
Setting an alarm.
setting an alarm at 2:45 in the morning to wake up at 3?
Oh, you're just gonna motor through, Panda? You're not even just gonna stay up? It's only 2 for you, though. You're being in Central time zone.
I mean, it's not unheard of for me to stay up that late. So I probably, I'll probably fall asleep on the sofa and then watching TV, and Allie can wake me up or something.
Oh, nice. Chateau Picard wine. Excellent.
I'd have to order that. You know what it is? I ordered a few years ago. They had done a run of wines. Like one of them was like Vulcan. It's just red wine with Star Trek label on it. Nothing as unique as what we had, and it tasted like crap.
Oh,
And the Kirk bourbon is not very good.
oh, yeah, I saw that. My brother was like, "Ooh, you should get this." I'm like, "No bourbon."
It's kind of like it's a little better than Williams. John Williams. What's the Williams bourbon? I forget the name of it.
Oh. Bourbon, also not my friend.
Bourbon's my friend. Go
What
ahead,
is it?
Kat, if you got a refill.
Okay, be right back.
What were you drinking?
I was having a Guinness, and then I forgot. I got up to use the restroom, and I came back, and I forgot my drink. So I'm gonna have to go again.
I'm drinking what I'm calling a 7-Up Sunrise. It's tequila, lemonade, lime seltzer, with a splash of grenadine and a wedge of lime.
Oh, so speaking of drinking and us all drinking together and stuff like that, I've already got STOV on my mind, and Skiffy wasn't BSing me. They are in fact opening up a Mexican restaurant at the Wynn called Elio's. So of course I have to go and eat there one of the nights I'm at Vegas. We should all, if you're planning on going, right, this year? Is that what you were saying?
Yes, I've already started saving and planning.
Cool. So we should certainly, if you're going to be at Vegas this year, captains, let us know and we'll all go to dinner at Elio's, at my restaurant at the Wynn.
Oh, food at the Wynn is delicious, even if... Yeah, I'll go there.
Hey, Cairo. It's actually better. It's spicier. I'll be right back. I'm going to get a drink.
So your drink sounded delicious, though, Anthony. I would drink that.
It's pretty good. So I live in Cranston, Rhode Island, which is the home of something called Dell's Frozen Lemonade,
I've heard of
which
that.
is so good. So their headquarters is here in my town, and they sell bottles of just plain lemonade to the local grocery stores around here. So I'm using that in my drink. It's Dell's local lemonade.
Delicious.
So, yes, it's very good. Oh yeah, Jake knows about the Dells because he used to live down here. In fact, it's so funny. Jake used to live. Jake, our associate producer of the show, he used to live about 5 to 10 minutes down the street from me, from where I am now. So, and he still works in the area, so he says he's gonna come by on Thursday to watch Picard with me, but we'll see.
You should, Jake. That would be awesome.
We never talk anymore. You never stop by. You never say hi. You're too busy rescuing people from dangerous fires and taking care of your family and milking your goats.
Single fireman.
Jesus.
Yeah, Jake, work on that.
All right. Hey, Jake, does your fire department do one of those yearly calendars?
I volunteer.
No, it's not. Oh my gosh. You know what I'm talking about though? When the firefighters do the calendar to raise money.
I volunteer to go check that out.
Oh, yeah.
Are you guys talking about Jake's chest?
No.
I mean, in a non-direct way, I think so. Yes.
Oh, I see. All right, let's do feedback. Let's do feedback. Hey Jake, I'm gonna record the captain's vlog after this. By the way, you're welcome to look at any of the changes I made. All right, I'm gonna hit the big red button in 3, 2, 1. This is Elijah. Feedback sync 1.
This is Kat. Feedback sync 2.
This is Anthony. Feedback sync 3.
Feedback in 3, 2.
That was atrocious.
Well, captains, hailing frequencies are now open, and we're ready to receive all of your incoming messages.
God, I can't believe I did that live on the stream.
Try to sing.
I don't think you can classify that as singing.
I don't know what that was.
Leo, 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 Leo.
You'll know it's time because I make the sound of a dying giraffe.
I don't know what you're referring to.
South Park, the movie, Bigger, Longer, Uncut.
Oh, it's been forever since I've seen that movie.
He's like that's their code. That's their code. Is like you'll know it's time because I make the sound of a dying giraffe.
All right, let's do it. Well, captains, hailing frequencies are now open, and we're ready to receive all of your incoming messages.
Our first community question for the week was, which Star Trek news this week was most exciting to you and why?
From PriorityOnePodcast.com, Joshua Selig writes, I'm interested as to what the 2 other live action shows are coming.
I'm interested as to what 2 other live shows are coming.
Okay. I'm interested as to what 2 other live action shows are coming. I would also be a bit miffed if one of those 2 shows was not Pike. I have no idea what the other one could be. Perhaps a new series set after TNG, but in the vein of TNG? That'd be interesting.
On Facebook, Jason Smith writes in that the short treks will eventually appear on Netflix outside of the US. I know it's not CBS's fault per se, but they really did drop the ball on this for all fans outside of the US and Canada. No, it was CBS that dropped the ball. It was most certainly CBS. They have to cut these deals with these other providers, and for them not to include short treks in some way seems like a really gross oversight.
I wonder. I don't understand how that's even possible. Like why the short treks aren't showing before.
Here's how the license probably went for this series of Star Trek, and didn't include short treks because those are separate. Because they're like under a whole different banner and everything, even in CBS All Access's areas.
But why are they not making these deals beforehand? I mean, it's not like they don't know that these things are coming out, and they're using them as promotional material for, or at least one of them for Picard. Why wouldn't they cut the deals and make it right? Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
I suspect they really thought they were marketing things to drive traffic to CBS All Access. If I was an executive, that's probably where they were going with that. But I imagine they'll come out at some point.
Yeah. I'll read this first part, and then you take one thing many of our listeners tended to agree.
Okay.
Our second community question for the week was, will you be purchasing the new Star Trek Online Picard bundle?
One thing many of our listeners tended to agree about is that the bundle doesn't seem to target longtime players. Most veteran players, like listeners Sean Clay and Hunter Wallen, already have many of these items, so the bundle just isn't attractive to them at this price. But you did have some great comments.
From PriorityOnePodcast.com, Tyler Maxwell says, others point out that the current crop of lockbox promo ships. Others point out that the current crop of lockbox/promo ships on the exchange are priced at the equivalent of $100 to $200. So from that perspective, the bundle is a steal. Another factor is the possibility of this being a test case for Cryptic selling lockbox ships directly in the Zen store. Maybe a response to recent moves by various countries to regulate the use of loot boxes in games, since the exclusivity of certain ships to lockbox /promo packs is something that a good chunk of STO players loathe. Perhaps a financially sustainable alternative like these bundles is something that should be encouraged.
Also, another thing to note, captains, for those of you that may be interested in purchasing the bundle, I see, for instance, David from Truck Radio in the chat talking about it. If you own some or most of the other items in the bundle, you cannot purchase it. You cannot get it again.
That should have been fixed today in the patch.
Okay.
Because that happened to me. It was if you owned the holographic Tommy gun, you couldn't purchase the pack. But that was fixed today in the patch. At least it was for me.
And finally from Facebook, Ron Kinney writes in, no, the Picard bundle doesn't offer enough at the current price to... No, the Picard bundle doesn't offer... Jesus. No, the Picard bundle doesn't offer enough at the current price point to make it worth buying. There was a recent pack that gave 2 Tier 6 ships with other items for only $10. They should do more value packs like that. Everybody hit stop, unless you wanted to say something. Okay.
No.
All right, captains, we're drawing to the end of our show.
Panda says the bundle doesn't offer Jesus.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
I think it's always like, I was like, the bundle doesn't offer Jesus.
Jesus.
Unlimited wine. That sounds fantastic.
Oh my God. The other thing that disappoints me about this pack is that with the rumors flying around about the Tier 6 legendary ship pack or whatever bundle it's going to be.
So what is that rumor? Before we go, what is that rumor? I don't care talking about it on the live show.
So the rumor is that there is supposedly what appears to be a bundle of Tier 6 ships that will be available in the C store. That is, it's 10 hero ships. What we're calling hero ships, and I think they are new visual versions. They're new versions of all the hero ships from Star Trek. But in this bundle they might have a different aesthetic look, and either you will be able to put on the classic look for the ship but have the new stats, or it's a new version of the ship with a new look. But
Discovery got an update. I saw the leak on that.
So there's a 25th century Discovery version. There's a what appears to be a motion picture era NX-01 refit. And so I think what they're doing is, I think that this bundle is going to be all of those. It's going to be basically better versions of the lockbox ships. Like the TOS Connie and so forth, but they will have a whole new aesthetic look on them, but you'll be able to go into the customization and switch it back to the classic one. So it's the only thing I can think of that's similar is, you know how in the Gamma Vanguard pack there's a Jem'Hadar attack ship, the bug ship, but it's a slightly different version than the one that came in the lockbox. I think that that's basically what it's going to feel like for these hero ships. But it's going to allow...
And you think that it's going to be just one bundle for one price, or it's going to be...
My assumption is that it's going to be one bundle, 10 ships, $150, regular price, I think is what it's going to be. And I think they'll do a sale when it first comes out, 50% off. So it'll be like $75 or something to get all the 10 ships. And I think it's a way that people who want those big hero ships, those ones that only came in lockboxes, like the Discovery, the Tier 6 TOS Connie, et cetera, I think it's going to be a way for everyone to be able to get those Tier 6 ships and fly them in the game.
All right, cool. All right, let's do closing. I'm going to hit the big red button in 3, 2, 1. This is Elijah, closing sync 1.
This is Kat, closing sync 2.
This is Anthony, closing sync 3.
Closing in 3, 2. Well, that wraps up episode 45. What?
Whoa,
55. Well, that wraps up episode 445 of Priority One, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. But there are more great shows available to you on the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Just visit podcasts.roddenberry.com for a complete list. Then be sure to subscribe to them all. And, of course, share them with your friends.
But we can't forget to send a special thanks to some of our Patreon supporters like Diana Gunther, Darnell Dwayne Ross, David K. Rutley, Joshua Selig, and Peter Archibald.
And, of course, before we go, it's time for a reminder of our community questions. What would you rather see first after Star Trek Picard? Discovery Season 3 or the animated Lower Decks? Also, what are you most looking forward to in the 10th anniversary celebrations for Star Trek Online? Is it the TFOs? Is it the Omega Games and crafting? Is it the new ship? Let us know.
Captains, it's important to us that you get your voice heard and participate in the conversation. Leave us a comment on our website at PriorityOnePodcast.com, on our Facebook page at Facebook.com/PriorityOnePodcast, or find us on Twitter and Instagram at PriorityOnePod.
And don't miss a thing. And don't miss a thing from the Star Trek multiverse. Catch our episodes every Friday. Just open your favorite podcast app. Do a search for Roddenberry, because there you'll find us and our sister shows on the Roddenberry Podcast Network. You can even join in on the fun as we record these episodes live on Tuesday nights at around 8 p.m. Eastern. If you're following us on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, you'll certainly see the notification.
And if you're still craving more, be sure to spend time with Winters and me and the rest of the Priority One Armada on Saturday nights. The Armada broadcasts live to review the latest news from Star Trek Online and the Armada community, including spotlighting some of its amazing members. With regular giveaways, there's something for all STO players, whether you are new or a veteran. Follow us on all our social media accounts for broadcast times, and if you'd like to join the Armada, visit PriorityOneArmada.com.
This episode of Priority One is brought to you by our community. Patrons like yourselves who support us financially from month to month. To find out more and add your support, visit us at patreon.com/Priority One. And even if you cannot make a financial contribution, the next best thing you can do to support Priority One is to spread the word about our show. Tell your fellow Trekkies that you enjoy this podcast as your weekly source for Star Trek news. It's your support that keeps us going.
Don't forget to tune in to Priority One Productions' Guard Frequency podcast at guardfrequency.com. Each episode, the Guard will take you inside the universe of your favorite space sims, including a tabletop adventure played out by your hosts. And Heroes Rise brings you up to date with the world of Dungeons & Dragons. Learn all about the latest publications, tools, tips, tricks, and traps in less time than it takes to skin a wyvern. Head over to heroesrisepodcast.com to discover their secrets.
Thanks to our audio editors, including Gray, William, Brandon, Rand, Daniel, Roscoe, and Skiffy. Thanks to our producer, Jake Morgan, for assisting in the weekly production of this podcast and our Captain's Vlogs. To associate producer, Shane Hoover, for helping us organize and write up our summary of the weekly headlines from the Star Trek multiverse. Thanks to our graphic artist, Henry Pomper, with support from Jason Smith of the Priority One Armada. Thanks to the composer of our theme music, Chris Watts. Most importantly, a big thanks to you, the Star Trek community, our listeners, because without your ongoing support, none of this would be possible. Everybody hit stop. All right, captains. That's it for tonight's episode of Priority One. And now, following up in just about 40 minutes, Mission Log will go live with its brand new host, joining Ken on the weekly reviews of the episodes of Star Trek.
Joining John?
Joining John. Yes, joining John. That's what I meant.
It's like,
Ken? I don't think anybody's joining Ken tonight.
No, nobody's joining Ken tonight. But yes, just head on over to facebook.com/Mission Log Pod. Links, of course, will be in the show notes. And if you've ever thought of becoming a supporter of this podcast, I'm going to throw in our Patreon link there in the chat as well, patreon.com/Priority One. For instance, we're about to go off air and we're going to be recording after hours. We'll talk about something sci-fi related, probably Trek. So check out that unedited, unscripted secondary podcast, exclusive only to our patrons. Again, everyone, thank you so very much for joining us. We'll see you next week after Star Trek Picard premieres.
That was a maniacal laugh.
We're all happy. It was a maniacally happy laugh.
so excited.
Good night.
Bye, y'all.
Command codes verified. Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.